You are listening to Big Trouble in Little Podcast. And here are your hosts, Joe Dubs and Andy. And welcome to Big Trouble in Little Podcast. I am Joe Dubs.
I'm Andy.
And we are here with our movie podcast where every bi-weekly we pick a movie, we watch it together, and then we discuss it. So here we are with another edition of Big Trouble in Little Podcast. If I could get the episode number really quickly, which I'm doing right now as we speak, this is episode 49.
Oh, shit.
We are one away from the big 5-0. And today while I was taking a shower, I was like, we are 2 months away. And this is because we have two podcasts now, a gaming and a movie podcast. We're 2 months away from our video game awards that we usually do. And we have 3 more months because we said we're going to do January of the movie awards because usually movies come out late in December.
That was my note. I mean, Christmas Day they released like 12 fucking movies now. I needed time to digest them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so keep an eye out for some polls that might be coming your way to vote for the winners of the nominees. Anyway, Andy, what the hell have you been watching?
I've watched a bunch of movies. I have resolved that I spend too much time like decking off on my phone and just like watching YouTube at the computer. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to do this thing where I'm watching a bunch of movies and playing a bunch of video games. I know it sounds like, oh, you're really enriching your life, but I feel like I'm enriching my life. Plus, we'll get into this news-wise later, but I have until November 26th to watch my entire Filmstruck watch list, which is obnoxiously long. So I watched some little stuff. I watched like Rocko's Modern Life. I'm always watching that. Oh, I watched all of Castlevania season 2 over the past 3 days. It's fantastic. Did you watch the first season of Castlevania, the Netflix anime exclusive?
Not yet. I'm saving a lot of stuff for a rainy day.
Well, it's Halloween, so it's time for Dracula stuff. But Castlevania is great. I loved it. I rewatched Infinity War. Whatever, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I saw the new Halloween, which we're gonna double back on and talk about that at the end because it looks like you saw it too, or did you watch the original 1970?
I watched the original.
Oh, never mind. Well, I saw the new Halloween, and it is way better than it has any right being. It's not as good as the original, but I still highly recommend it. I watched Akiru, which is Japanese for To Live. It's a Kurosawa movie from 1952. You'll remember Kurosawa because he did Throne of Blood, the movie we watched right here on the show.
Right here in Big Trouble Podcast.
Right here. I also watched Suspicion, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie. I watched The Baron of Arizona, which is a Samuel Fuller movie starring Vincent Price, but Vincent Price isn't like a spooky guy. It's like him in a serious role, and I guess in interviews later in his life, people were like, "What's your favorite role?" And he would name a few of them, but this role was always one of them. So I watched that on Filmstruck. And I also watched For All Mankind, which is a movie made up entirely of archival footage from NASA about the Apollo missions to the moon. It's really cool.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know if you want to cherry pick something to talk about. But I watched too much stuff, and there it is, laying on that.
To quickly, I guess, without spoiling it, the Halloween movie. Did it do a better job in like all the stuff that they pretty much said doesn't exist is now?
I'm glad they did. I'm glad they got rid of people kept saying, I liked 2, they should have kept 2. What's wrong with 2? 2 was good. 2 was pretty good, but they didn't want to do that stupid thing where Michael's just trying to kill her because they're related. That's out the window now. Now Michael is just He's a force of nature. He's evil. All he's interested in is killing the people in his path, and they do that excellently. His body count in this movie is ludicrous.
Nice.
The movie's really good. It's paced really well. There's one twist that is the dumbest, stupidest, movie ruinous moment, but otherwise the movie's really good.
Nice. What made you choose Rocko's Modern Life?
I have that subscription to Verve, and whenever, like in the evening, I'm about to go to bed, so I lay down and I just need something on, so I can check my email and Facebook and Twitter for the last time on my phone and screw around and then go to bed. I don't know why I'm just really getting into that show because when I was a kid, it was just funny because it's like slapsticky nonsense.
Yeah.
But now that I'm an adult, it's all like super relatable stuff. They're all like, Rocco's trying to do home repairs. Rocco's car doesn't work. Rocco's throwing a bachelor party for his friend. It's all like stuff that I do in my adult life. So it's like, I don't know. It's double funny because now it's super relatable on top of just being funny anyway because the show's cartoon and silly.
If I remember correctly, Rocco is an Australian, right?
Yeah, he's yeah.
Because I remember this fucking accent. I was like, what kind of accent it was? This is me being like a child, Joe Does. I'm like, what accent is that?
They mention it once or twice on the show, but not like every episode or anything. But yeah, he's Australian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I have nothing else to say about yours, but mine is kind of funny. So every Halloween, I obviously watch the old Halloween because it's a tradition for me. Then I decided to watch Ernest Scared Stupid because why not?
That's my favorite Ernest movie.
Those movies were hilarious. I just like the practical effects on some, like the monster, the troll thing, and just the costumes that Ernest would be in. It was just stupid humor, and they made like a ton of movies of that, by the way.
They did.
Didn't they have like Ernest Does like Christmas and shit?
Yeah, I think that was the first one, is Ernest Saves Christmas. Scared Stupid was toward the beginning. Ernest joins the army, he escapes jail, he does a bunch of other stuff. There's like, I don't know, maybe 10 of those movies or something. There's a bunch.
Yeah, so I didn't watch this on a streaming thing. I actually have the movie. So popped it in my DVD player and just watched it. And then obviously I like with you, Rocko's Modern Life, turning something on before I go to bed. I usually watch Twilight Zone. So I watched pretty much. I forgot the name of the title. I should know because it's one of my favorite episodes. Is when the Earth is getting hotter, and then you find out like the girl was had a fever, and then the Earth was going away from the sun, and the Earth started getting really, really cold.
What a twist!
Yeah, and then obviously the William Shatner. There's something on the wing. Something.
One of the most iconic episodes.
Yes, so that's what I did. And then obviously, I think we'll segue here to our movie of the week. Train to, and I always mess this up, Busan or Busan?
Busan, I thought.
Yeah. So Train to Busan is a Korean zombie flick. And
it's a pretty high budget affair, apparently.
Yeah, and it's a simple fucking storyline. You have a hardworking father who's always doing work and kind of not on purpose, but ignoring his child, and the child wants to go back to the mom, which is in Busan, and pretty much he decides to take her to Busan on a train while a fucking zombie outbreak is happening.
Obviously, he doesn't realize it's happening until they're on the train.
Yeah. Which we're going to jump around and stuff, but did they kind of reveal, and by the way, spoilers, if you got up to this point in the podcast, just remember that we always spoil the movie at this segment. But anyway, did they kind of reveal that the father was he worked for the company that made this outbreak happen?
Well, no, no, sort of. He is a hedge fund manager. They mentioned that several times. So I have to admit I'm not super knowledgeable on it, but my understanding is his company made it possible for the company that did it to do what they did
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell. So like the guy on the phone is telling him, it's like, oh, is this my fault? Did we do this? Oh my god. So kind of, but not really. I mean,
Yeah, they give like small lore on what happened with the outbreak, but the main focus is what's happening on this train the whole time. Um, and the supporting characters were pretty funny, especially the pregnant wife and the I want to say athletic dude because he was just like straight up throwing zombies on the ceiling of the train.
oh, the guy in the blue jacket, he's the
Yeah,
best character in the movie.
yeah.
He is bar none best thing about that movie. And I was reading about this movie afterwards. I guess this was like a breakout role for him, and now he's like really popular, and he's been in a bunch of movies since because he's so great in this movie.
This movie and this movie really felt like a Japanese movie to me. I don't maybe because the Asian descent and stuff, but like his character alone, the guy in the blue jacket felt like an old uh Japanese flick. Or
Yeah, I thought that too. Like a lot of the character archetypes, he feels like he's like. I kept expecting it to be like I used to be part of the Yakuza or something, but I mean they're Korean, so clearly he wouldn't be.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I totally see what you mean. And like and the high school girl and a bunch of other characters all fit neatly into what I've seen from Japanese movies.
Yeah, and it had a balance of like silliness and like seriousness to the point where like you have the baseball team on there that they're all being all like jockey, and then 1 minute later they're all crying because all this zombie stuff is happening, and then you have the guy in the blue jacket who's really he's the comedy of the thing, where you know the daughter is going to the bathroom and he's like she's gonna be a while, the pregnant wife, because she's pregnant, and how he's like making fun of her father because he's taking people's money away and all that
Oh,
stuff.
one of my favorite parts of the entire movie is when the three of them are in between cars in the bathroom waiting for another tunnel to come, and he's talking about like, oh, father's it's all sacrifice. You work so hard and whatever. And then at the end, he's like, "Did I sound cool?" That's like one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. That is really I don't know. I smiled. It was funny.
Mm-hmm. The emotions in this like movie had me all over the place because 1 minute I was like, "Oh, this is over the top kind of shit going on. Like that's pretty funny, but cool at the same time." And then they hit those serious notes where at the end where the father becomes a zombie, or when the guy in the blue jacket dies. Like you're like, "No, he's my favorite character. Why you have to kill him?"
Yeah, that part pissed me off. I was
Yeah.
like, really, you're gonna kill this character? God damn it!
And then I showed
They kill
hatred.
all the characters though. I mean, come on.
But then you felt hatred for that guy who pretty much is being a fucking jackass and
Yeah.
not letting people on the train, the certain part of the train. And it was really like, I don't want to say really good because there was some stuff where I was like, okay, let's move on the story a little bit. I felt the first station that they came at, where the supposed military and police were, I felt like they could have skipped that scene. I don't know how you felt about that.
Well, the whole movie can't take place just on the bullet train, which I kind of acknowledged right away. I thought, is this whole movie just going to take place on all these train cars? Because that's cool, but it's also kind of sucks. And they figured out more than one way around that to get them off the train.
Mm-hmm.
It's useful for like character development, as far as like Blue Jacket saves the daughter, and then like when he's running to the door, he lets him through, which is a reversal from before when he closed the door in his face because the guys were yelling at him.
Yeah.
This is all stuff they could have done in another setting, sure, but I thought it was okay. I mean, again, well, not again. I guess for the first time we were talking about this off the air. The stunt work in this movie is extremely good, and just doing it on train cars wasn't going to work out. They wanted to get them into more of an open space and have some other stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to do it somewhere, I guess. Really, I like that scene a lot more than I feel like. No pun intended, but it kind of derails the action a little bit toward the end when he has to stop the train and he says, "Well, I'm going to go get another locomotive. I'll be on the far left track. Good luck, everyone." And they kind of each have to get on their own to the locomotive at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that was, I thought, the slowest part of the movie is when they're getting off the train and trying to get to the conductor, who it turned out was one of the coolest characters and one of the most, get stuff done in this characters, except he didn't get to shine till the end. And he dies, just like everyone else.
Mm-hmm. The CGI was a little off at times where
Definitely.
You could see like, oh, there's a green screen right there. But overall, like, I thought the zombies in general, like there was good makeup, and I like how they turned. I like how it was right away. Like usually in zombie flicks, like when you get bitten, it has like a slow ass turn. In this movie, certain people lasted, I want to say, a couple of minutes, and then certain people just turned right away when they got bitten. So and just how
I did notice people tended to turn quicker if they got bit like in the neck or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it would take longer, they would always be bitten in the hand or the arm. So I chalked it up to the closer to your brain that you're bitten, the quicker you turn, I think.
Did you think when the father was fighting with that dude on the last train, when he was looking at the fuck, what is, when he threw him off the train, the chain, there we go, fuck, god damn it, I'm lost of words here. The chain, did you think he was gonna take his infected arm and like use that to like tear off his arm or something like that? I don't know.
I think the thought crossed my mind, but
He
I
kept
don't
on
know.
he kept on looking at his hand. I'm like, is he gonna take an axe to it? Is he gonna try to do that, see if he's still alive? But then I'm like, he might just bleed out if he does that.
Yeah, probably.
But what do you think of the train getting dragged by like all those herd of zombies? I thought that was a cool scene.
I thought that was stupid.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but when it's like dragging the whole bunch of the zombies that are hanging onto the back of it, I thought that was dumb.
And it looked like it was slowing down the train too.
Yeah, I mean it was, and I get it, but it was a little like they ran and caught up to the train, but the zombies couldn't, and then they were just dragging. I don't know. It's I didn't like it, but that's okay that you did.
Yeah. Would you think of when they went through the tunnels, like the zombies became like blind in a sense?
It was cool. I didn't expect it. It added another level of complexity to like every time you have a new zombie franchise or a new zombie movie, and this is the same with like vampires or whatever. You kind of get to tweak the rules a little bit, and those tweaks are what make these movies interesting, I think, because everyone knows all zombies, they're undead. You destroy the head or cut the head off or something. They want to eat brains or flesh. They infect people. There's like general rules, but when you add your own little touches, it makes the movie more interesting. And that was an interesting one. And I'm with you. I agree that the quick turn, that's a really good touch. I do like the darkness thing. It doesn't make as much sense, like that suddenly they're dependent on sound, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, their eyes are all cloudy though. I guess it makes sense. Their eyesight would be garbage.
Well, what throws me off a little bit, because they kind of say, hey, the next tunnel is going to be like, at least a minute and a half or 2 minutes long. And when they go across one of the carts, and I'm like, this is more than like 2 minutes. Like they're like crawling on top of the where the baggage area is, and I'm like, man, that's pretty long. That's a time killer right there, and you got to think maybe they found another tunnel that might be a little bit longer, or they just
I would hope and assume, yeah.
yeah they Hollywood the shit out of it, and then just time doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And
The thing that messed with me is I kept thinking, do these people's phones never die?
yeah, that was another thing. I was like, man, and I think you do see the battery life, like it doesn't even move. And I liked the touch where he did the distraction thing where he threw the phone and then called it, and then all the zombies.
And then he's like, why is your ringtone so stupid? And he's like, whatever, it's not stupid. How do I change it? Like he's gonna get the phone back.
Yep, that was funny. It, God, he was such a likable character, and you like you didn't hate the father. Like you knew he was gonna become honorable, I guess, and liked by his daughter near the end because she started fucking crying. Like that scene was kind of hard, especially
Yeah.
when you knew he was gonna die and the daughter knew he was gonna die. Like that was hard hearing her fucking scream and crying like that. Like I thought that actress was fucking spot on good for
I was thinking that the whole movie, that little girl was like one of the best child actors I've seen somehow.
mm-hmm.
Maybe it's like the language thing. Maybe if I knew Korean, I'd be like, I mean, she sucks. But for the most part, she seemed to be extremely good.
Yeah, she wanders a lot. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I thought that too. Where are you going?
Yeah, what'd you think of the sisters, by the way, the old sisters that got split up? Like,
I kind of wish they would have like provided more to the story than they get separated and then she's the reason the one sister opened. And it was distracting because it seemed pretty clear to me that they were both younger actresses that were in makeup to look older.
yeah,
Like there was like how can the zombie makeup be like fantastic and then your old lady makeup be garbage like that?
they probably tried to audition some old people, even though there were some old people in the film, and they're just like, we ran out of old people to do the sister role, so let's hire some 20-year-olds, or at least 30. I'm trying to think what else to like the beginning scene, like the whole outbreak lore that they were doing, like when they would go into a checkpoint, it was like, oh, it's pretty normal, nothing's gonna happen, you're pretty safe here. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then he hits the deer, and the deer becomes a fucking deer zombie.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed they didn't do more with that, like the fact that it affects animals too. I've
Mm.
always been really interested because that's another rule that whenever you make up your own zombie thing, you have to decide like does it affect fauna as well? But that's okay, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, that would have been pretty funny if, like, out of nowhere, like when they stopped at one of the stations, like deer zombies came out of nowhere, started
Like
attack.
it affects only humans and deer,
Yeah,
like no other animal.
just fucking birds are normal and fucking dogs are normal, but deers, fucking zombies trying to attack you. I I thought that beginning scene was like okay, and I was like, I laughed when I saw the deer just twist and turn until he became a fucking zombie.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's that point. I was like, oh man, this might be a little over the top kind of zombie flick. But then it balanced out. Like
yeah.
shit got really seriously. Um, the conductor was cool. Obviously, he was one of the cool characters, and he didn't have a lot of roles either. Like he was just in the front talking on the radio the whole time. Uh, and then at the end is where he kind of shines a little bit, where he's like, "I'm
Yeah,
gonna."
like out of nowhere, he's a really interesting character, or just like a scene, and then he's dead.
Mm-hmm. The baseball team was pretty cool. I did I get this right? The girl that sat next to that one I wish we had names.
Yeah, I mean, if we did, they'd all be Korean, and I forgot.
But anyway, like they were all just like accept her, accept her. Was she kind of like the whore or something, or like?
No, I think I kind of liked this because normally in movies, it's like a guy has a crush on a girl, and then through his heroism, she falls for him. It's like one of the dumbest, oldest tropes in stories.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, they're like, nah, she likes him and really like her back. But by the end of the movie, he has come around, and now they're a couple. I thought that was clever and
Yeah,
unexpected.
they had that scene where she turned into a zombie and bit his neck. Kind of had like a romantic side of it, I guess, where they'll both be zombies together. Um, I don't know what. Is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
I mean, it's a zombie movie, so it's like there is a plot, but it's balanced out by a lot of like really good action and set pieces and stuff in it, and it does that really well. But it doesn't come through in an audio podcast. I recommend the movie, of course. It's super interesting, super fun, and I don't know. It does a lot of stuff with the zombie formula that's unexpected and new. Even stuff that we didn't. If you've made it this far and it still sounds interesting, there's a lot of stuff that I can think of that we haven't wrote yet, and still makes the movie work.
Mm-hmm. Like the ending, like the very end where they actually get to Busan, and they say, "Oh, we see survivors, but we can't tell if they're infected." And like, "Ah, just kill them." And then out of nowhere, like she starts to sing the song that she's sung at school but never finished, but now she finishes it at Busan, so they don't kill them.
Yeah, we hadn't ruined that yet, but now you have. So.
Yeah. Oh well. The spoiled area, anyway. But yeah, I definitely do recommend it. I thought it's another zombie film, and I was like, this could go easily good, or it could go totally wrong and just suck. And I was entertained, so I do recommend it.
Yeah, I had written off zombies completely, and over the course of the last, I don't know, 8 years or so, I'm sick to death of everything that has to do with zombies. I never liked The Walking Dead terribly much. I hate that every video game has zombies now or zombie mode, and there's all these TV shows and movies that have zombies, but they're not using them in creative ways. So I kind of given up. But between the last movie we watched and this, I'm like back on the zombie train, man. No pun intended.
The zombie train. That should have been the name of the fucking movie.
I'm gonna ride that train and ride it.
Brains. Andy, news that matter to us. I only have one news source. You have about three, so I'm gonna let you take away on some of them.
Speaking of movies we watched on the show, Guillermo del Toro's last movie won the Oscar Best Movie. So now his next project is something that he's always wanted to do. Apparently, that's what I read. He's going to do a Pinocchio movie, and it's going to be stop motion, and he's doing it for Netflix. So it's going to be direct to Netflix, which is interesting. It's another like high-profile director doing something specifically for a streaming service, which I love. That's what I want. Going to the theater is fun, but if I can cut that out, then that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think a stop motion thing from Guillermo del Toro is going to be like delightfully moody and creepy. I can't wait. Pinocchio is a weird choice, though. The story of Pinocchio. I'm sure he'll stick more to like the weird fucked up roots of it or whatever over the Disney one. But
A Pinocchio film like Labyrinth. That'd be great. Just make it fucking spooky.
But I just thought that was interesting. I know that you were really bitten with the movie I forgot the name of.
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of the top movies that I like that we picked to watch. And just Del Toro in general. What I like about Del Toro is that he does what he wants to do. He's not the type of person that would go, oh, Marvel is paying all this money to do another Avengers film, and I'm gonna do that. Del Toro wants to do fucking kaijus and monsters and shit. Well, guess what? He's gonna do that.
And he's made comic book movies. He's made two extremely.
Mm-hmm.
Just he's all over the place, and he always he's kind of like. He's like Wes Anderson in a way. It's like when you see a Guillermo del Toro movie, it's like, did Del Toro direct this? Because this seems like a Del Toro movie.
Yeah, and he has his own way of his trademark and shit. Like it's very gritty, but it is also delightful in a sense. Because Shape of Water, like it had its grittiness, but at the same time, it's like there was romantic tone to it, and like a positive tone. And
Yeah, he does a good job of mixing whimsy with like grimness.
mm-hmm. But you know, it's gonna be on Netflix, so obviously I'm gonna take a look at it. I mean, Pinocchio is is not one of my favorite Disney things, but we'll see what happens.
Disney didn't write that movie; they took it.
Yeah, I know. Disney takes everything. Goddamn monopoly. What about this second link you got here?
But this was kind of a surprise. Like when you hear all the players, it starts. Oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. That'll make a bunch of money. CBS announced that they're going to do another animated Star Trek series. The only one that has ever existed was, of course, the spin-off continuation of the original series from the 70s or something. I've never watched it, but from what I understand, it's like a little kooky.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they're doing a new animated series. It's going to be written by one of the head writers from Rick and Morty.
Really?
I guess the guy is like a huge Star Trek nerd. They were talking about how his cat's name is Riker and a bunch of this other like hilarious kind of things. I guess he pitched some ideas and they were really excited about it. So it's going to be comedic. And my favorite part about it is that it's based on just like the engineering crew, like a bunch of losers that just all the red shirts. It's not about like the best captain and the best ship. They're like in the worst ship and they're just the engineering crew. So I'm looking to it. That's kind of what I wanted, is something comedic to come from Star Trek.
I actually saw some news. It was on IGN, I believe, that the next Star Trek show that they're doing on the CBS Access thing is going to be 1,000 years in the future or something like that.
Mm.
I don't have it in front of me, but anyway, they're doing a lot of shit for Star Trek, and that's pretty good.
Season 2 of Discovery is coming, and I guess it has to do with Spock. They're looking for Spock, or something to do with Spock, because everyone loves Spock.
What about
It's a little pandering.
what about Captain Kirk? I love Captain Kirk more than Spock.
No. I guess they don't. I don't know. Spock has that weird mysticism to him. He's one of those space elves. He's well spoken, and I don't know.
Those elven people.
Yeah, I was like Next Generation more.
Yes, Next Generation is the best Star Trek. And then I'll let you get your anger out on this story here. I'll let you take it.
Yeah, this is just 2 days old, so the wound is still fresh. But AT&T is shutting down a bunch of streaming services associated with Warner Brothers and a bunch of other. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 huge conglomerations that own everything in the world now. But they're shutting down a couple of other streaming things that I either don't care about or care about. But 2 days ago, they decided they're shutting down Filmstruck, which is really disappointing. A lot of people are upset about it. It's got a ton of stuff on there that you absolutely cannot find elsewhere. Stuff that isn't available on disc or is out of print. It dealt primarily with classic Hollywood, foreign movies, independent movies, art house stuff. I liked it a lot. It was perfect for me. It was still niche, and I guess they never made like a boatload of money. But I don't know, it's a huge disappointment because I could watch all these $40 Criterions on there and pay a ton of money because you can't get it anywhere else. Hopefully, the only good thing that'll come out of this is Criterion will wind back up on Hulu, or a bunch of people were saying it would be cool if it was one of the add-on channels for Prime, which I could also get behind. But it still sucks that it's going to be by itself and not alongside the wealth of movies that Turner Classic Movies brought to the table. Had all the Hammer films on there. Had a bunch of weird, out of left field stuff like David Lynch's stupid Flash cartoons. And they had just added a bunch of old, like Felix the Cat, black and white cartoons from the late 40s. Like weird nonsense that really you don't see anywhere else. They had a bunch of master classes from like virtuoso musicians from the early 20th century and weird stuff that didn't really have a home elsewhere. And now the Filmstruck's gone. It'll just be gone.
Well, hopefully it gets salvaged by, like you said, Amazon Prime or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. Both Criterion, speaking of the Criterion channel, and people from Filmstruck have already talked about wanting to find somewhere to move stuff to. So as far as I can tell, Criterion's probably already courting suitors, if you will.
Yeah, you said that the workers weren't aware of this until last minute.
To my knowledge, I don't know. I don't know information or anything, but that's the impression I've gotten from the news stories and tweets I've seen. Is they just kind of said, "Oh, by the way, you have until November 29th to find a new job."
Well, it's funny because I saw your tweet like a couple of days ago where you were just like, "Hey, Filmstruck, are you gonna go on like PlayStation or something? You gonna?"
Yeah, they've been talking about it for 2 goddamn years. I feel like that would have helped them a lot if they could have just got off their goddamn ass and put the app on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Because there was a ton of people on the Reddit always talking about, oh, PS4, subscribe. I will. And, some of them probably wouldn't, but some of them would have. That would have been a great boon. I've seen, like, Filmstruck is twice as old as Verve, for instance, and it was on the PlayStation 4 the first week it came out. They know their audience.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if underestimating how many people have both a PlayStation 4 and a love of classic. Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like if they put it on like a Fire Stick or something, or
yeah, that's what I played off of, is Fire Stick. I mean, it was on Fire Stick, Apple TV, stuff like that.
Yeah, they should always branch out into other things so that you have more people who could watch it and stuff, because nobody wants to take like Filmstruck and just sit at a computer screen and watch stuff or something like that. There's other means to do it that way, but it's a shame because I know you liked it a lot, and I'm sure a lot of other people like Filmstruck.
Hey, I can tell you from the posts I've been reading on Reddit, a lot of other people liked it. A lot of people watched it like religiously. They would watch it like several times a week and stuff. I have to admit I was neglecting it a little bit, which is a shame because I always pay for the annual subscription. But well, I trimmed the fat a bit, and I've got about 33 movies on my watch list, and I have the 29th, so there's 31 days. I have 32 days to watch 33. Weird. I doubt I'll make it.
2 a day.
Some of them are like 3 hours long. So.
Maybe 1 a day.
That's hoity-toity foreign and art house stuff for you.
For the final news here, and I know we talked about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker film. To kind of give a little update, they are going to put the Wayne family in this Joker film. It's going to have Bruce Wayne, it's going to have Alfred Pennyworth, and I also found out that Alec Baldwin is going to play Thomas Wayne.
Really?
Wait. Exiting. Wait, hold on a second.
What am I waiting for?
Brett Cullen is going to play. Oh, what happened was... Alec Baldwin was going to be Thomas Wayne, and then he stopped, and then Brett Cullen is, I believe... Oh, shit.
You got to read your news sources before we go on the air, boy.
No, it's not even that. Just, I remember where he was from. Oh, yeah, he was in The Dark Knight Rises. He was one of the congressmen. And he was also... Oh, yeah, he was on Lost. That's where I remember he's from. Yeah, so he's more of a TV show kind of guy. That's why you don't know him, Brett Cullen. Anyway, Brett Cullen is going to be Thomas Wayne, not Alec Baldwin.
Well, that's not near as exciting.
Mm-hmm. It would have been funny if Alec Baldwin was. But yeah, it looks like they're going to put the Wayne family in this, and I don't know how I feel about it. Because, yeah... Joker kind of does kill Bruce Wayne's parents, but...
Does he, though? Because there's, like, so many different variations on I mean, they did it in the Burton movie, and now some of the comics have made it that way, but not originally. They're still, I don't know if the main comics continue to take that into account.
Well, I know Joker was like the Red Hood, and pretty much the Red Hood kills the parents.
I mean, in some versions of the story, but not all.
So I think that's what they're going with this now, and just like, I think it would have been cool if we learned about Joker before he kind of put on the makeup, before the accident that happened, and you just learned, and then pretty much near the end he becomes full-fledged Joker. But I don't know. It's still DC, but it's up in the air when it comes to like movies from DC now. I still got Aquaman coming out, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, Warner Brothers is involved, and as I mentioned in the last news story, they suck. So even before that, though, like I said, my expectations for anything that DC, as far as movies, is incredibly.
Yeah, this news article also says other stars set to appear in this film include Robert De Niro,
Really,
Zazie Beetz, Francis Conroy.
Now, is this the one that Scorsese is producing, or is that another?
I believe so. Yes. So maybe that's why Robert De Niro is going to be in it. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, the only reason why I'd probably watch this film is because of Joaquin Phoenix, because he's a great actor. Other than that, don't really care. I don't think we need an origin story for Joker.
No, we don't need an origin story for any of the most notable comic book characters anymore.
Yep, been there, done that. We know everything. This is 2018. The internet tells everything. Andy, what's the next movie for the next episode of Big Trouble Little Podcast?
Well, you said you wanted to do westerns, so I was poking around Netflix, Amazon Prime. I've never seen Big Jake, which is the sequel to the original John Wayne True Grit, and I wanted to watch it. Have you seen Big Jake?
No. So
okay, good. Have you seen True Grit?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, then this is perfect for both of us.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Fucking got John Wayne. This shit's gonna be fucking. I almost said off the hook, like I'm fucking 90s in here. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much this episode of Big Trouble Little Podcast. Andy, you working on any projects lately? I mean, I know this is a movie podcast, but if you're doing any gaming, it'll be cool to talk about it at the end here.
Oh, I just still with my Twitch streaming. I do it once in a while. This last week's been kind of busy, so I didn't stream as much. I got to get on a schedule. I know that. I acknowledge it. But the main game I've been playing all week has been on the Switch, and I can't stream the Switch, so sorry.
I got to get Starlink. That's my next game I'm probably going to get.
Really? Are you going to get Starlink? I can't do it. I can't get a toy game. I say as I'm literally holding it.
And I also want to get the new Mega Man, because I heard it's good.
Yeah, I heard it was good too. Hey, right now there's a sale at Target. A bunch of their Switch bullshit is buy two get one free, and it's included. So maybe take a look.
Yeah, I'll check it out. It's only $30, so might as well. On that note, make sure to follow us on Podbean, which is B.T.I.L.P.podbean.com. We're also on iTunes, so make sure you check Big Trouble Little Podcast, and all our episodes, both the Big Trouble Little Podcast and Escape from Sidequests, are on there. Make sure to give us a review, comment to us on Podbean, tell us if we're doing good or bad, or just talk about the subjects we're talking about, or the shit we talk about in the episode. But yeah, that is the end of the episode, everybody. I hope you have a good week, and it's Halloween in pretty much a couple of days, so eat all the candy you can.
Do it.
And until next time, you guys have a good night.
Thanks for listening.